Okay, so this is my Ada Lovelace art that I want on a t-shirt. And it might not be obvious to you why I went through the process of having you set up those folders, except that I'm telling you that it's a little bit of a better method. But hopefully it becomes a little bit more obvious now as I'm going to make some changes to this file that are very destructive. Right? They actually are going to make some serious changes to the file that will prevent me from being able to recover and make edits to the file if I decide that I want to do that later on. So in our Photoshop documents, often we have a lot of information that Photoshop saves about our layers and the effects that we've put on those layers. Okay, we want to always preserve those effects and those layers by saving as a Photoshop document. But sometimes in the last step of our project, we need to um, export something as a JPEG. And in this uh, assignment, we also need to reverse the image so that we can print it on transfer paper so that we can make a t-shirt out of it. Okay? So here's what I suggest you do with your finished design. So here's my finished design, and I've already saved it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to choose Save As from the File menu. This gives me an opportunity to make a new copy of this design with a new name. The new name is going to be Ada T-shirt reversed. Okay, because that's what I plan to do to this design. I would suggest you do this every time you decide that you're going to make a radical change to your design. You can do this as many times as you want. You'll have a bunch of files saved, and those files will kind of represent different moments in time for your project. And it's a good practice to get into because if you make a bunch of changes that you don't like, and you've been saving, like it's always important to save as you go along, but if you know that you're about to make a destructive change, then saving as and giving a new name gives you a chance to kind of say, all right, I know that this might destroy my design, but I still want to experiment. So I'm going to give it a new name here, save. And then if I look back in the folder, now I have two files. And as we continue to work, what you're going to see is, because I did a save as in Photoshop, it has the new name, Ada T-shirt reversed.pst, which means any changes I make to this are only going to apply to this file so that we have a pristine Ada T-shirt saved version that will not get affected by any of the changes I'm about to make. So it's safe. So if I do something that I can't go back from, no problem. I could always go back to that other document. Okay. So what are we going to do that's so destructive to this? Well, I'm about to do it right now. I'm going to go into the layer menu and I'm going to choose flatten image, which is at the bottom of the menu. What that does, you should see over on the right here, is it got rid of all my layers. To flatten the image means to take all of the visible layers, merge them into one layer and get rid of any invisible layers. Okay. In this case, it made it my background layer, and it is also locked. Okay, so I can't edit it right now. So I'm going to click on the lock to unlock it. Then I'm going to go under Select, and I'm going to select All, which is the first option. So now in this layer, everything is selected, and then I'm going to choose Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And it flips my design horizontally. And now that I've done this, I'm going to save it because this is I'm just going to save it, and it saves it to the reversed file. You can see the name of the file is still up here. You can still see what you're working with. And now I have two versions of my design. One is just one layer, so not very editable if we wanted to make changes, but I can always go back to the previous version. In order to fulfill this assignment, one of the things you were asked to do is export this as a JPEG. So let's do that as well. So under File, we'll scroll down, we'll look down this menu about halfway till we see Export As. We'll make sure that it's set to a JPEG, and then we will export, and it's going to give us a chance to name it, but right now it's called Ada T-shirt reverse.jpg, okay, which is different from Ada T-shirt reverse.psd, which is fine. So we're just going to save to that folder we've been working in. And now, if I go to that folder, you can see that we've got three files. We've got the original, we've got the reversed, and then we've got the reverse JPEG. And this is the file you've been asked to attach to the assignment. So you'd be all set right now. And if anything went wrong with what you submitted or whatever, it's easy now to find these files because they're in the graphic design folder of your documents folder in a subfolder called T-shirt project. And if you continue to make these folders, you will have all of the files that you have created for every one of your projects in a place that's easy to find. Okay, and you can even upload all of these files to your Google Drive if you want access to them when you are not in this classroom. And that is how that works.